Speaking of games that ate your life and games that came out within a couple of weeks of each other, let's talk about that Diablo 2 for a second. So, Brendan, what was that?
That was my Diablo 2 was my jam.
All right.
The week that it came out, like that, I got the game, but I couldn't play it because of reasons throughout my household. But I had the manual, and back then, Blizzard manuals were a thing to behold.
Yep.
Yeah.
Full color, full of all these illustrations by Samwise and all these people, all this story in the back, and like we had even had these stories in Diablo 1 that talked about like the burning hells and all of like the greater and lesser evils. But we only saw Diablo. Diablo 2 gave us all these other bad guys to contend with in this huge open scenario, going from the Tristram of old all the way to like the jungles and deserts, and they made them terrifying.
Yeah, Diablo was a good game, but it's like you pointed out, they expanded on and cleaned up a lot of things. They added run, they fixed how gold worked. You couldn't write your name in gold.
More character classes, the acts were huge. It was endlessly replayable. I still think Diablo 2 is the greatest action RPG of all time.
I don't think it's arguable. I think it just is. And the thing is, what's interesting though about Diablo 2 is that because of the benefit of history, we now only remember it as we last saw it, which was with Lord of Destruction and with all these patches that they added. Yeah. When the game first came out, totally a terrific game. But they added like the synergy system and rune words and so much of like the end game of what Diablo 2 became. Like everyone looking for that what they needed, the runes to form Enigma. Yeah. And like have Enigma body armor so you can teleport around everywhere.
But all that came along because they supported it for so long.
Oh, they did.
They supported it forever. Necromancers, frankly, were broken. My favorite class, but they were useless after the first act or two in the original build.
Okay, Summon Necro was useless after the first two acts, and I learned that.
Which is the whole point of having a necromancer is the skeletons.
I was fine. And here's the funny thing about me with Diablo 2 is that I min-maxed a corpse explosion build. This was before it was cool.
Yeah,
believe me, guys, it was cool at some point.
Corpse explosions have always been cool, Vince. I'm calling bull on this one.
But I had this build before it was like the build for them.
Right.
But it was in the early patches, and I steamrolled everything until Diablo.
Right.
And then like one wave of his like fire ring attack literally wiped out all of my skeletons and all my summons.
Barbarians for life. And I spent
barbarians.
There was a rare item called Messerschmitt's Reaver that I spent so much time looking for, and at some point I eventually got it with my buddy Robert. In fact, with my Diablo 2, I played on Battle.net, but I would actually, this was back in the day, I would haul my whole computer setup, the tower, the keyboard, the mouse, the CRT monitor, because this is in the CRT days. And like 3 friends we'd go anchor down at my buddy Robert's house on weekends, and we would just pull all-nighters just playing Diablo 2. And it is some of my favorite memories of all time.
You mentioned that rare item. Another thing to think about, the item balance was incredible. When you found an item, it had the prefix and then it had something there at the end, and those two things, they weren't necessarily good for your build. But you're like, there's a way this could be used.
And you give it to your friend.
Exactly. And there was no useless junk dropped, really. There was always something like, I see how this could have a good application. That was so well done. Also, the importance of moving character server side. I mean, there was a lot of cheating in Diablo, but it did help quite a bit with that. And then, of course, the most important thing, taking its cue from Twister, Brendan. There's also Brendan's favorite level.
Wait, what?
The cow level.
The cow level.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's got my mind, but I remember in Diablo 1, it was always a point of contention where if you clicked on the cow, they would moo and you'd say things like, is there a cow level? StarCraft came out. A cheat code. There is no cow level.
Yeah.
Diablo 2. There's a cow level. Cows with axes and halberds.
Remember what? You could fill up your entire inventory with gold and actually have like, all right, I need to spend this gold now.
I have to buy this.
So you had to go to Guy and start gambling.
Yeah, but that cow level was crazy. It was for a long time. It was one of the best runs you could do. Like the cow level was a great.
Show's over. Let's go play Diablo.